This is the Dog Savant podcast with your host, Brett Endies.
Hey everyone, it's Brett, and this is going to be a quick, short episode of the Dog Savant podcast. I think we're at episode 42, this is. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, listening here. If you're on iTunes or the YouTube version, if you're someone who's been listening, thank you. Thank you to everyone who's been subscribing, reviewing, sharing. It's been awesome. If you're new, welcome, and please do the same. Share, subscribe, make a good review here. Tell everyone how it might have helped your dog when applying the information that I share here with you on the show. It's the only way that other people are going to find it, and it really is. I'm putting out this information that I tell everyone almost every episode. It's helped many people in the real world, so I want to be able to give this information to more dog owners, and hopefully it'll help you help more dogs. That's really what I feel my purpose is to take this, accumulated experience I have working with dogs and owners and share it so that more dogs and owners can get the help they need. So do that. Thank you. Let's see. As for me, I'm driving in the car right now. I'm going to Home Depot. I'm getting sandbags. Anyone who's been following me, I posted a few times about some flooding we've had. I live on a mountainside, and water and rain, when it happens as infrequently as it does, is a big issue here in Southern California. A lot of places too, but here, because it gets so dry and it's a whole thing. But going to buy sandbags now at Home Depot, so that'll be a fun journey. Let's see, today's episode. I've been trying to, figure out a way to articulate it. That's why, I've got a 10-minute drive, so I'm going to keep it kind of short and brief, maybe give you a 10 to 20-minute episode here. Energy. Okay, a lot of this, I don't want to call it controversial, because if you understand it, it's not controversial. It can be proven and measured and demonstrated in its effect on not just animals, but a lot of elements of nature. But what kind of inspired me to maybe want to talk about and do a podcast episode about energy and chi and all that stuff is I saw another trainer who, I think he's a funny guy. I like him. He's a good dog trainer. He has a lot of awards and trophies and plaques and certificates I see in the background when he does his podcast, and has a lot of cool, experienced trainers, so he must be a good trainer. But not other than that, I've seen his work, and I think he knows what he's doing. But he was making fun of another trainer's video, and even just putting her video up, I think, and kind of getting all woozy about, like, she was using energy and a lot of like body language stuff, and admittedly, just like the dog whisperer, it's a little over dramatic sometimes when people want to sell on that, but there is a reality to it. I say, if you've ever gone for acupuncture, acupressure, you get a massage, you meditate, there's something inside of you that creates feelings, sensations, thoughts, ways of interpreting our surroundings and taking in stimuli, social interactions. Hope you got all that. So, it's a chi, if you want to call it. It's the internal winds. Buddhism is almost primarily based on this. And the thing about it, the theory is, in layman's terms, is that we as human form or animal form, we're a container, and inside of us, not just organs and blood and bones and all that, but there's actually energy. There's a thing, in essence, our spirit, our soul. And they say that can be transferred, it can be emitted. It's like a vibe you get, even like things like where you get a hypersensitivity. I hunt, and I find that when you do that, you get into this heightened state of alert. I'm sure animals are existing in that almost exclusively. Even like it's a kind of thing, if you're sitting at a red light or someone's staring at you, you kind of feel it right through the eyes. Someone stares at you in the eyes, you feel it really intensely. And I just feel that there is something to that. And as far as being able to project it within us, whether it be through touch, and I do a lot of this. Sometimes I make videos and people make fun of it, but there is an effect that if you understand how to harness all your focus into a point in your hand and your muscles can tense up enough, there's electricity that comes out of you. It's a very small, low voltage, frequency, but the dogs can pick up on it, or magnetic. I'm not a scientist, right? I can't describe it, but it is happening, and a lot of very highly sensitive dogs have like this doggy Wi-Fi I talk about surrounding them, and it's like they're feeling everything. And I would say the best way to describe the way I interpret it is like everything near them is like this magnet sucking their internals out of their externals, and they're just pulled out of their skin all the time. And that's why they're always projecting, reacting, overstimulated, dogs that have these issues of not being able to be more mindful and present and in the moment. And I always say in one sentence, when people say, well, all this explanation, what do you do, Brett? I teach dogs how to meditate when they can't be able to process everyday life. That's 2 sentences, but basically teaching dogs to meditate. It's good for people, good for dogs, easier for dogs because their life isn't so complicated. I'd love to sit home and meditate, but I got to go to Home Depot and go buy sandbags, right? I couldn't. I don't have time for that right now. So a dog, my dogs can have a full life, and now they're home. They should be just chilling in a more meditative state because there's nothing really that's going to drive them, because I take care of their bigger picture needs and I make sure their exercise and attention and food and shelter, bathroom visits, all that's covered. What do they have to worry about? Any dogs that have this greater idea of what their responsibilities are tend to have greater levels of anxiety, social issues, reactivity, aggression, and inability to just be comfortable in their own skin, right? So that's the essence of training. But with that said, energy, right? I teach dogs how to focus, and that's just a logistical thing. Make them hold a command longer, and the attention builds, and they learn how to replace the distraction with the attention, and that creates a calmer state. But there is some physical energy. You see Cesar Millan do this all the time. And I think, again, he's very dramatic. I'm taking a sip of my coffee, pardon me. And, there's something real to it. Cesar is a real dog trainer. I've talked about that. I have done a pilot for Nat Geo with the exact same team that did Cesar 911, who know him personally. I had the same business manager for a short period of time. And the reality is that energy, and he is a real thing, but I think there is some showmanship tied to it. I don't try to be showman. I just try to explain and show my clients how to touch a dog in different receptor points where there is this ability. You see dogs, a lot of times they'll put their body in positions or put their mouth or nip at these areas on the dogs. Kind of like it looks like they're hurting or playing even over the ears. There's points. And, it really, and that's why I'm a big believer in teaching this deep focus, energy work, touch work, without the ego coming into play. So it's just for the dog, projecting yourself at a dog. I wish I could explain this better. I'd love to have maybe like a real Chinese medicine. I hope that was the right politically correct term, but that's what they call it. A practitioner who can maybe understand it more. An acupuncturist, somebody who's more attuned with this in the human realm, because the dog realm is examined in this area. Even hey, I've talked about this. There's a thing called HECS, H-E-C-S suit that when you hunt, I sometimes will wear. And I don't know if I've seen it because I'm not that great a hunter. I don't get close enough. But there's, for archery hunters like me who want to get really, really close to the animal to have that experience and, get a fair, close shot in with the bow and arrow. They wear these suits, and what they've studied, it's like they started with shark divers where they study sharks, and sharks I think they don't even see, they just work on the frequencies, and water is a much better conduit for it than air, but animals can feel air particles charged. Like I said before, there's tiny muscle, like electricity we give off out of our body, and supposedly this HECS suit blocks that. And, that's even where we have to, we can't wear a HECS suit around situations, and it wouldn't even help. I don't think we connect as well with our dogs. But we have to breathe. We have to be mindful when we're handling our dogs. We have to get our dog to not have, almost like they have to wear a HECS suit. I think it's a good idea. See if a HECS suit for dogs can help while working on some of the issues they're struggling. A reverse HECS suit, it blocks their energy back into them. I don't know. Brainstorming on the fly here. But anyway, I think you get the point. So really why I'm upset is that this other trainer was making fun of this person, and he's like a comedian too, so I get it. I totally get it. I do like the guy. I doubt he hears this, but if you know him, I won't ever say a name. That's kind of rude. But I like you, but I just think you got to give someone a break, right? This lady is trying, and I think she does good work. I haven't examined her enough to give you all the details, but I saw her response, and now it's like a whole little online war, social media war amongst dog trainers, which I really just want to stay out of. I'm too busy. I'm tired. My whole life is too busy in the real world, right? I'm getting sandbags. Look, here we are. We're pulling it to Home Depot. Let me make sure I pull up where the sandbags are this time instead of pushing 1,000 pounds on a cart halfway through a parking lot. Okay, so but yeah, it's, I don't, what I find is the issue is there's some humor, but it's not all dog trainers who are watching these things, right? It's going to be sometimes just, it's going to be dog owners, people who want to have a better understanding of their dog, and maybe they have a local trainer or they watch the dog whisper, and some of this stuff, when done skillfully, again, without ego, can help the dog in complement to training and exercise and all the other elements of a holistic life for a dog, are addressed. And now it gets poo-pooed like it's not real and doesn't have any validity, and that's not fair. it's really, you're missing out on a big part of how dogs operate. And when you're around dogs enough, you know, like I've been for so long, in all these different settings, and you hear so many people all day long. I'm talking dog with different people, and they're sharing their experiences of what their dogs. I mean, I really should do another study at this point. I did years ago about certain dominance levels of dogs amongst each other versus humans, but you know, I hear just so many stories about this, and dog intuition, this ability. Rupert Sheldrake has done a study, dogs who know when the animals, their dogs, the owners are coming home, where they've studied how the owners would get paged by the scientists, and the dogs would, and other animals too, would start heading home, you know, in response to it. And there was no, you know, they would take another car or public transportation so that the dog, you know, wouldn't pick up on something maybe like coming down, you know, who knows, a dog would smell the particular car or the unique engine sound, who knows. But more often than not, the dogs and the animals seem to kind of get that anticipation behavior. They come to the door and wait. So what is that from miles away? Maybe they smell us. They have a great sense of smell. But also I think there's something else. There's like a frequency going on. Like when your phone call takes a call, it just came in from thin air. Like, well, there's something tapping into, and your phone is the, what do you call it? The receptor, right? There's a frequency. So I think dogs are receptors, we're receptors, and there's a little more going on. Just our world has become too technology based, and I just think that it's numbed us a little to this. Because if you're a backpacker, hiker, outdoor person around animals, you tend to get a little more in tune like that. All right, good. Not to go too off on a tangent, but I just wanted to share. I'm just sitting here at Home Depot watching all the interesting folks do their anyway, okay. So let's see, anything else? I don't know if I made my point, but anyway, I just figured I'd talk a bit about energy. Tell you as another dog trainer who applies balanced training methods, uses all the tools, uses obedience skills as a way to address behavior problems and the relationship and the pack and all that, and positive reinforcement, all that, right? There's energy. There's more to it. But you can't be a one-trick pony. You can't be all energy. You can't be all treats. You can't be all e-collars. You got to mix it up and know your dog, know your client, and know how to basically teach the owners how to implement something that's going to apply for them. Because you could be magical whisperer person, and your dog's only going to listen when you're there, and you don't live with your owners, you know, the clients. You could be balanced, use all the tools, the e-collar, and then there's no relationship building when you take the e-collar off. The dog only listens because they have no choice. There's a lot of things you got to work on when you're training dogs. And I hope anyone who has a dog and is an owner and is trying to struggling with or trying to build the relationship they have with their dog, they get some information from a lot of different qualified, rational is the key word here, sources, experienced. You need a dog trainer with experience. I don't care how much you know dogs. Look, my whole life was animals. As a kid, I was Little Doolittle, right? That was my thing. And I always work with animals. But the reality is I speak what I speak because of a lot of years' experience. And that's where some dog trainers mean well, but I think they should focus more on their craft and social media. Just go, if you don't have enough clients, go find free clients to work with. Do free workshops, meetup.com. Then you can use your experience to help others. But when you're four years in, no offense, you just gotta like take a step. I wouldn't say, I was afraid to get on social media up until probably close to 20 years into this. I just did with my YouTube channel, with my YouTube channel, we reached 1,000 subscribers, which is really cool, but it took me 5 years. And 5 years ago was so afraid to put videos. I was like, am I worthy of it, or are the dog trainers going to judge me? And I know a lot of other dog trainers, they might not respect what I do because I had the show and whatever, and it was like a cutesy version of training. But reality is I got technical versions of videos also on there, and there's a lot to learn. But I've learned from other trainers. I've taken bits and pieces, and I still learn. I still am self-aware, and I still learn from the dogs and all the clients' information and feedback. I tell clients, we need to troubleshoot together. I'm giving you plan A. If plan A doesn't work, you let me know. You call me. We're going to talk through this. We're going to work it through in our sessions. There's a lot of different approaches, tools that we can do. There's a root of everything. Dogs are dogs, but then there's ways we can communicate to the specific dog and give more holistic. Maybe it's a little more energy work, maybe it's a little less, maybe it's more balance, maybe it's more exercise, maybe it's more treats, maybe it's just more strict rules from the owner, right? All these things have to be understood by an experienced trainer. And that's why I think trainers, it's not, yes, again, some people are more, prodigies, dog trainers, they're born to do it, but you got to put the time in with the owners in the living rooms with these dogs and out in real life situations. Then you can be more able to get a better, like, oh, I get it. That's me too. Look, I 10 years ago did not know clearly what I know now. And what's cool is as you get older, the understanding, it kind of, you exponentially kind of learn new things because you're seeing more. It's like a Terminator scan. You just see a dog, an owner, and you're like, whoop, you just get it, right? You just kind of skew the whole situation. And it takes a lot of experience. Like I know a lot of comedians here in LA. You've become friends with stand-up comedians, and them too. It's like a lot of comedians are naturally funny, but to get your craft honed, you got to do 10 years, 20, 15 years. Then you can start kind of doing, say, then you get a special. They say even now, there's like young comedians 4 years in, go get a special. There's trainers I know 5 years in doing workshops. I'm 25 years in. I'm just entertaining the idea of maybe I have enough accumulated knowledge to do a workshop, and I still am thinking of doing it with another trainer. So anyone doing it, coming and paying good money for this, is going to get their value, get extra information, because I don't think I have it all figured out in 25 years. So I think it's a little ego-based. There is one trainer, I think he's okay a trainer, but I think it's all show, it's all flash, and I think you got to take a step back and just less social media, as I do a podcast, right? But less social media, more focus on the dogs and the owners. That's my 2 cents. Okay, so that, I hope you learned something today. If not, stay tuned. There's a lot of other technical podcasts. We have many others. In the past coming through. We have other guests, other trainers, people, trying to stay on topic related to dogs, but sometimes we, get personal, get a little bit into other subjects as well. But I think it all ties into a deep understanding and being self-aware, which really is what makes dogs and people connect best and resolves their real life problems. Okay, again, thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe to the podcast. Listen on YouTube, youtube.com/dogtrainingla. My website, dogtrainingla.com. You can link to all my social media there. Thanks again for listening to the Dog Savant podcast. Have a great day.